moment William screams, "Stranger danger!" Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I will be recapping episode 4 of the Apple series, The Changeling. Now, at the very top of the episode, we see a young Lillian at a dock with a heavy suitcase, red suitcase, and she looks to have been beaten up. I am not sure exactly what is in the suitcase, but jumping ahead at the very end of the episode, we see that same suitcase at the bottom of the ocean. Now, I am going to speculate that maybe there is a changeling baby in the suitcase. Maybe that dumb boss of hers who turned evil when she turned down his advances, is he in the suitcase? Even though the suitcase look a little small for a full-grown man. Who the heck beat Lillian up? I got a lot of questions surrounding this, but I already said that I feel like maybe Apollo had another sibling, a twin, something along those lines, where Lillian and Brian had another baby, and maybe he got one baby, Lillian got the other baby, but maybe it didn't go quite like that. Maybe there was a changeling baby, and is that what's in the suitcase? But if a changeling baby is in a suitcase, that does not explain why Lillian is beaten up. Why? But there is still a lot of mystery and secrets when it comes to Lillian, when it comes to Brian. She definitely is holding a lot back and hoarding a lot of secrets. So was Brian abusive? I don't know. Now, we see young Lillian at this dock facing the water, and then next thing we know, we see the back of Apollo's head at this same dock in present day with Patrice. Now, y'all, I'm a little confused because we're at the dock to meet the guy that wants to buy the book, but didn't Apollo give Patrice the book to have and told him to keep the money? So I'm a little confused. I was confused last episode when William was like, "Oh, Patrice sent me," but it's Patrice's book. Patrice is supposed to be selling the book. I'm confused. But anyway, we're at the dock together, Apollo and Patrice, and they're sitting waiting to meet William, and Patrice shows Brian that there has been a tribute page for baby Brian created on social media, and Apollo is looking through this page and it's sickening. Like, people are leaving comments that are beyond morbid. Like, I don't know no other word besides sickening. And it's a lot of talk in there about eating babies. Yo, what is going on? There is talk about eating the baby. And Patrice is on like a fan of the page, which I take to be like a follower or subscriber of the page. And Apollo is upset, but Patrice is like, "But I thought you knew about this, or I wouldn't have been associated with it." So Apollo is pretty upset about this. And all I could think is, baby, how do book sales normally go down? Because everything was feeling suspicious. Like, everything surrounding William is just suspicious. But I was like, why are we in this deserted place? Why are we like meeting away from a public place? I would think we'd be meeting somewhere public, but maybe they're men. They feel like they can take care of themselves and they're not really worried about nothing like that. But I wouldn't be also meeting a stranger in a secluded place. But anyway, something else that I thought was odd. William pulls up in his car and he gets out, and Patrice is making comments that feel to me like, this is your first time ever seeing this person. But last episode, William said, "Patrice sent me here." So I don't know. That seemed odd to me. I want to say, did Patrice send him there or not? Did Patrice actually send William to that support group? Because I don't know, this just felt like a first time meeting with Patrice and William. Because I wouldn't think that I would only correspond with someone online about buying a book and would send them to such an intimate gathering with my friend. So I would think y'all met. But there were comments that felt like Patrice never met William before this day. Now, we get into the car because William is like, I'm finna take you to my office. And we are having a conversation. William is talking about having daughters. Everything with William screams ick. Everything with William screams stranger danger. He is talking about having two daughters and how he used to call them his strawberries. Their faces would get so red when they would get mad. Just the way he was like saying it was very much giving me ick, creep factor vibes. Now, they end up going to this dock and getting aboard a boat. And come to find out that William rented this little boat for them to have this meeting, right? So he says right now, but we gonna get into that. Now, Apollo and William and Patrice are sitting at a table on a boat, having a conversation. Apollo hands over the book, which has been gift wrapped, and William like sniffs the book and talking about how it was always meant to be a gift. We gotta pay attention to that line. It was always meant to be a gift. Okay, I was gonna recap and then just kind of give my little theories, but we just finna do it as we go along. So William, when he gets this book handed to him in this meeting, says it was always meant to be a gift. Y'all, I feel like William just bought his own book. William planted this book in that basement. Okay. There are events in this episode later on where we find out, to no one's shock, surprise, or awe, that this has all been a setup. William has had his eye out on Apollo since the birth of baby Brian. And from different things we discover in this episode, I feel like William is the stalker who was taking the pictures. He works in IT, so he can find some kind of way to, like, I don't know, hack a system. I don't know, IT-ish. But he can find a way to get those pictures to delete off of Emma's phone. I definitely feel like he planted the book in that basement. And in that same, like, situation, he was the one taking the pictures of Apollo and baby Brian in that driveway. It's just, this has been just a master plan by William. But anyway, when he said that line, it was always meant to be a gift. I, like, at the moment this happens, we didn't get all those reveals, so I wasn't thinking everything, but I jotted that in my notes because I was like, it was always meant to be. Why is he saying always? Like, that just seemed odd to me. So then when the reveals come in the episode, I was like, yep, he planted the book. William did it. William is the stalker. But, you know, I could be wrong because who the hell even knows what's happening on this show? But that's just my little 2 cents, okay? Now, they end up having this conversation where William is pretty much, for me, being manipulated. Me personally, I feel like when folks give you sob stories and stuff, I do feel like it's kind of manipulation. Obviously, context has to be involved, but in this instance, it felt like manipulation. William is talking about his wife, Greta, how her dad used to read this book to her and they've been estranged for 11 months and this is his gift trying to get her back, and he tapped out using all the money he has, and if this book doesn't work, that like it's nothing else, and he's like crying, and I'm sitting like, bro, we are strangers. You are a stranger. No, why are you crying and talking about all this? He's talking about how he wasn't a good dad and all this other stuff, and Patrice gets up to leave. And I'm like, yeah, bro, it's time to exit stage left. And at this moment in the episode, I thought this was the end of William. And I was like, okay, what was the point of this? Why the hell did we need to meet this man? Like, what are we doing? Because seemingly our ties to William at this point, in my opinion, I thought was over. We sold him the book. Now we're out. But no, child. Now, Apollo is home sleeping in the apartment where his son died, and he's having nightmares of when Brian was killed. And then we end up seeing Apollo go to meet with Emma's sister. I think her name is Kim. Guys, is her name Kim? I think it's Kim. And I said last episode, when it comes to Emma's sister, oh God, I just really feel like she dropped the ball. And basically they're meeting so that he can pay her the $10K for her, like what, her doula services when the baby was born. But I thought that was odd, because how old was the baby when he died? When the hell are you supposed to pay the doula? I don't know, but we just now getting around to paying her. I don't know nothing about that. But this was very much kind of, I don't know, I didn't like her taking money from him, especially when you saw the same homicidal look in your sister's eye that you saw in your mother's eye, and then you don't really do nothing to intervene, and then next thing you know, your sister go home and kill her damn baby and attack me, but you gonna take my money. But anyway, I'm not really clear on why we threw this scene in, because that's kind of just it. Apollo talks about how the place they're meeting in has good memories, and the sister, Kim, ends up saying, oh, Apollo said, I never got to hear her third wish. He's pretty stuck on never knowing what her third wish was, which seems to be one of the central mysteries of the show, is what was the third wish. And the sister ends up saying, I think you should know it wasn't supposed to be like this. And I feel like people keep saying things that I feel allude to them knowing more than they're letting on. I think you should know it wasn't supposed to be like this. So then what was it supposed to be like, Kim? If it wasn't supposed to be like this, what was it supposed to be like? I don't know. That just makes me feel like you have more to say. Now, remember I said I thought we was done with William. He bought the book, and I was like, what the hell was the point of this man? Now he gone. No, baby. So Apollo ends up getting a text saying that Emma is alive. And come to me, follow this map. Y'all, this felt so stupid to me. We followed the damn map of this unknown person sending us a text. This is why I say the stalker was William as well, because remember, or if I'm remembering correctly, remember when Emma was getting those text messages with the pictures of baby Brian that would disappear? Wasn't it from unknown? And then now Apollo is getting text that's from unknown. Y'all, when we end up following this map to get to whoever this unknown person who is texting us, it's William. And I gotta say, Apollo for me is being so... I'm gonna give him some grace because he grieving right now and he ain't in the right headspace. But baby ain't using no kind of common sense. He not using all his marbles. Something is wrong with William. First of all, my nigga, why are you texting me unknown and doing all this little mystery shit? I just saw you, bro. If you knew my wife was alive, why you ain't say it then? Or maybe you ain't know at the time and then you found out. Why you ain't just hit me back up like, yo, it's William. Remember me? I bought the book. I know where Emma is. She alive. Like, this just felt really silly for me. Like, I felt like this feels silly. Why are you texting me this, like, secret coded spy shit? Like, why are you follow this map? Come to me. Nigga, just say who you are and say, hey, you want to meet up? I know where Emma the hell is. Y'all... Ain't no way in hell I would have ever corresponded with a nigga like William. Like, William is really weird. So, William ends up coming out, talking about, I found out Emma is alive. And, of course, you know, Apollo is like, what? You know, he kind of taken aback. But William goes on to say there was a time, you know, you only had government agencies for stuff like this, but there are a ton of people with computers, and if they care, they won't quit. And I was honestly saying, like, boy, what the hell are you talking about? But William goes on to say, because Apollo is like, NYPD couldn't find Emma. So William says, that's what I did for you. I told these people that I wanted to help you. Again, William, what are you talking about? what people like? There are people behind their computers, and if they care, they. What are you talking about? Who are these people? What, like, why are they looking for my wife? Why do you care? Why do you want to help me find my wife? What's in it for you? Like, what person would not be thinking this? But Apollo just ends up being like, oh, okay, you know what, Shatner, where is she? William tells Apollo that Emma is on an island in the East River and he found the wise ones. Y'all, this don't make no sense. Why did you go looking for the wise ones? Because remember when we first went to have coffee or whatever, we looked up the wise ones. Okay, why did you look for them? Why do you care to look for them? Why did you look for my wife? I don't know you from a can of paint. It's just really weird. Now, Apollo is going and having this conversation, and he's just pretty much like, who are you? You know, and William is like, I'm your friend, Apollo. Baby, how the hell? No, my friend is Patrice. I have one friend. That ain't you. What, like, but Apollo is like, you're not my friend. But he goes on to like, well, how do I get to her? And again, I'm going to give Apollo grace. He grieving. His mind ain't right now. But this is so weird. Like, this whole exchange is weird. William is weird. William is odd. Calling yourself my friend. Tracking down my wife. Like, who does that? Like, I don't know. Like, Emma's sister ain't go through all this trouble. My mama ain't go through all this trouble. My friend Patrice ain't go through all this trouble. But this random guy that I sold a book to went through all, I don't know, that would just be very red flaggy for me. Now, Apollo is going through like, how do I get to her? How do I get to this island? And William says, you gonna need a boat. I don't have a boat. Relax, it's an app for that. Because now earlier, William claimed there's like an Airbnb for boats, and that's how he rented that boat earlier. But it ain't just a situation of, okay, it's an app for that. Is it an app for somebody to drive the boat? Is what I would be thinking. And William's entire energy in this scene was weird. When they're having the exchange about, I don't have a boat, relax, there's an app for that. William is doing like this smile. And I really wanted Apollo to be like, nigga, what is you smiling for? I don't know. Very odd. Now, Apollo ends up going to Patrice and telling him about the whole situation. And Patrice says, well, did boat guy give you any evidence of Emma? And come to find out, he did send Apollo a file. And Patrice goes to research William, which I don't know why the hell we didn't do that in the first place when I'm supposed to be trusting that somebody got $70,000 to give me for a book. But whatever the hell, they look him up. His identity checks out. He is who he says he is. And Apollo says that William is going to rent a boat for tomorrow night. Patrice says the thing that I don't know why Apollo ain't thinking, which is, why is this guy helping you? What's in it for him? Now, Patrice ends up pulling up the file that William sent to Apollo, and it is security footage, CCTV footage of supposedly Emma. Now, for me, the image ain't like clear for me to say that's Emma. Look, the person favors. It looks like her. But next thing we know, we see Apollo and William on the boat. And now, I personally thought this was odd. What the hell is Patrice? Like, you just let your friend go. And I'm starting to think maybe this is just how men operate. Baby, why the hell would I be on the boat in the middle of the damn ocean with a stranger by myself? No, buddy, my friend gonna come with me. Like, this don't feel safe. Now, I am also confused on why we had to wait for nighttime to do this. When Apollo has the conversation with Patrice, he says William is going to rent a boat for tomorrow night. Why night? Why not tomorrow morning? And now they out on the boat. It's night. It's dark. How are we supposed to be looking for somebody at night? First of all, in the middle of the ocean, ain't no street lights out here. I just thought it was odd. Like, why did we have to meet at night? Now, William is driving a boat after saying he can't drive a boat. And Apollo is like, I thought you couldn't drive a boat. Why we wait till we in the ocean to ask this? You weren't thinking this when y'all niggas stepped on the boat, but whatever. And William is just like, I can't tell a lie. William is so weird. Now, he goes to say that he watched an instructional video. Baby, so an instructional video is good enough to teach you how to drive a boat just after one day? I don't know nothing about driving no boat, but I do know about learning to drive a car, and I ain't learned how to drive a car in one day. Matter of fact, I failed my driving test about 3-4 times. Like, how can you learn to drive a boat by watching an instructional video in one day? None of this sound right to me. But hey, maybe I got a paranoid mind, because I would be like, all kind of bells would just be ringing for me. Now, then William, very creepily, suspiciously, is like, did you tell anyone? Did you tell anyone else we was coming out here? Did you tell anybody we was doing this? I've been saying like, yeah, nigga, I told everybody. Matter of fact, everybody know where I'm at. But the way he said it was so creepy. And y'all, I just do not understand why none of this is triggering to Apollo. Like, why does William's like demeanor and the way he's saying stuff and the way he's acting and the way he's looking and the facial expressions, why is none of this odd for Apollo? But he's just like, I told Patrice. And then this is when William goes into, you need to see something. And William pulls up the Baby Brian tribute page. And there is a comment from someone named Green Hair Harry that says, stay safe on them open waters. Our wish is for you to come home safe or something like that. And William is like, that's Patrice. No, babe, that's a Green Hair Harry. How do you know who that is? How could you possibly? And if I'm looking at it as Apollo, well, Patrice ain't no person that know we coming out here. You know we coming out here. So how I know that ain't you that made that comment? But William go into, oh, I know Patrice, probably did that to show some support, but I'm actually here with you. Huh? Hold on now. See, and I don't like when people do stuff like that. Again, it's manipulative. You're trying to throw my friend under the bus to be like, oh, well, see, I'm here supporting them. Where they at? No, you're not finna get me to not trust my friend to be like, oh, you here and they not. I don't know. I don't like the way William be saying or doing half the stuff he says and does. But he goes into how we need to be careful. Vampires can't come into your house unless you invite them. I don't know what the hell William is talking about. Now, this next part got a little weird. Now, the narrator, as we're on this boat and looking for this island, the narrator is like, there are portals in this world we may never know we trespass through. And then next thing I know, Apollo pulls that red string out that Emma had wrapped around her wrist, and he pulls it out of his wallet. He ties it around his finger. He tosses his wedding ring in the ocean. And this is when he sees this island. And I'm thinking, why did they have the narrator jump in at this moment? Did we just trespass into another world? Did we just go through a portal? And this also has me feeling like, does Apollo still love Emma? Even after she killed your baby? Because what is the importance of the string for him? Why toss your wedding ring and wrap the string around your finger? That's gotta mean something. I'm not quite sure what, but it gotta mean something. Now, they end up getting to this island, and William is smiling and like, ready? I don't know, y'all, how do you not notice how this guy's acting, Apollo? And then suddenly, after we've crossed the damn ocean and we're on an island, Apollo asks, say, William, why you here? My G, William, why you here? As we already on a secluded island and we done crossed the ocean and we done been riding on the boat in the darkness. Now you want to ask that question? Okay, Apollo, I'm going to let you slide. You grieving. Now, William goes into his sob story because he pretty much, for me, uses Apollo's grief and what he's going through to tug at his heartstrings and be able to manipulate him. William goes into Greta said no. She wasn't even mean about it. She just said to leave the book for the girls in my will. If I weren't here with you, I'd be home in my basement going nuts. I know this is insane, but at least I'm not alone. I ain't buying none of that. And everything he's saying right now is a lie. Greta said no. He ain't talked to Greta. We gonna find out later. He ain't had no communication with Greta. But you said you can't tell a lie. But nigga, all you do is lie. I don't trust anything that comes out of William's mouth. From the moment he said, hey, slow down. You're going too fast. Patrice sent me. The moment any words came out of his mouth, he was untrustworthy. And William does come across as sad, pathetic, and desperate, but I'm as I was watching, I was just like, I'm still not buying this whole thing about your wife. I was like, is your wife dead? Was you abusive? Did you kill her? Like, I just thought something was weird with him, and I just knew it could not just be the straightforward story he was giving us. Now, we're walking across the island. We come across a bunch of hospital beds just on the ground. And William is like, oh, I just, read about this island today. This must be North Bell Island. It was a hospital for the infectious. So you just so happen to read about the island that we on? Like, you just so happen to read about it today? That ain't make sense to me. Now, we end up seeing a light on in a building. And William is like, it's the wise ones. We could take them on. They said the wise ones are witches. What makes you think you can take on witches? Witches are not just mere mortals. They have all kind of powers. So I thought that was odd. Why would you say we could take them on? They're witches. Is there something I'm not getting? Now, Apollo was just like, you know what? You're a middle-aged man. I'm grieving. We can't take on nobody. But then he goes into his whole, I'm the god Apollo. Y'all, is it just me? It's so elementary. It's so childish. It's so ridiculous that he says that all the time. It's a few things. But two things that they keep beating over our head is the I'm the god Apollo. Maybe that's going to come into play in somewhere down the line. Apollo has some kind of power or something. But you don't have to keep beating us over the head with this. Why does he have to say this in every episode? It's way too much. He runs off towards the building. I'm the god Apollo. Emma, where are you? I'm the god Apollo. And for some reason, William ducks off, hiding behind some bushes, and Apollo just runs off by himself. I'm the god Apollo. I've come for my revenge. Who talks like that, first of all? I've come for my revenge. Like, who talks like that? And all of a sudden, a group of women in these masks with these lights on their head come out, start beating Apollo down with some sticks. And William is just watching from afar. And all I could think is, what? Like, Apollo, you... But this felt like, as I was watching, William knew to hang back. He knew, somebody was going to come out. And we could see a woman up top in the building looking out through a window. They throw Apollo in a pool. Now, I thought this was odd. They throw Apollo in this pool, hold his head underwater. Now, remember I told y'all they were sailing at night. It's nighttime. They duck his head underwater. But when his head comes out the water, because he has a flash of, I think, his son and gets the shrimp to kind of jump out of the water, it's daylight. The sun is rising. How the hell long was his head underwater, y'all? Why didn't he die? Why didn't he drown? Even if it was nighttime, like morning, it still takes time when dusk comes and the sun starts to come up. Enough time to where your ass should have drowned if your head went under before the sun came up. I thought this was odd. Why is Apollo alive? Why didn't he drown? Why did it go from night to day and he was just fine? Now, the women end up running after him, tackling him, and he's like, why do you protect Emma? She killed my baby. You're Emma's? And I'm sitting here like, y'all ain't hear him screaming the name Emma at the top of his lungs before y'all tackled him and were beating him with sticks? I thought that was kind of crazy. But the women end up saying, oh, of course, she was a pain, so of course her husband would be too. Cal wants to see you. And he's like, wait, Cal? And he flashes back to that lady in the group saying, Cal told me. Now, they end up dragging him inside, but presumably his wife isn't here because they say, oh, she was a pain. It feels like they talking about her in past tense, like she is not currently here. So we end up taking him into the building, and he's like, let me go, let me go. Then we end up seeing that woman from group walk by as he's going down the hallway, and she just says, it's not a baby. Another one of those things that they keep beating over our head. What was the point of this woman walking down the hallway and then just saying it's not a baby? Why did you just randomly say that to me, lady? They end up taking him into the room where Cal is at. And we end up discovering there are children here. We don't see them, but they're talked about. And the lady Cal is, getting these puppets together for some show for the kids. And all I could think is, baby, are these people insane? Like, what are you talking to me about puppets for? Y'all just beat me with sticks and dragged me up in here. Now, Apollo is just like, where is my wife? Like, excuse me, where's my wife? And Cal ends up telling this story about a man and a woman who wanted a child, and the wife gets pregnant, and the wife would look over at this field of flowers or greens or something like that. So the husband decides, oh, because my wife likes these things, I'll just go steal it for her. But this enchantress ends up appearing like, how dare you try to steal my stuff? I'm going to curse you. But the enchantress agrees to spare his life if they give her their baby. Now, I said in my last episode that I didn't think the red string and Emma's trip to Brazil was connected to the baby eating fairies or whatever, because we see different missing posters through the city, and I just felt like people who got their kids missing, or even a lady in group with her baby, everybody couldn't have went to damn hell Brazil. So that is what made me feel like it wasn't connected. But when we hear this story about the enchantress, it makes me think of the lady on the beach in Brazil who gave Emma that string. So, I don't know. In the moment, I'm just like, what's the point of Cal telling him this story? Like, but as she's telling the story, Apollo was just like, look, enough of this. I want to know where Emma is. Now, it's a lot in this show that it just made me feel like it gotta mean something. It gotta go somewhere. I don't know yet. But it got to. That enchantress story. And then Cal ends up saying, years ago, a husband found us. He brought 2 guns and a ton of rage. And Cal made the mistake of trying to talk to him, but he ended up killing women and children. So they left the world and came here. Okay, 2 things in that I feel like I may not be smart enough to get, but gotta mean something. She says we left the world and came here. The narrator said earlier how we walked through portals like not even knowing. So you left the world and came here. So are we no longer in the actual world now on this island? I just thought that was a just odd word choice. We left the world and came here. Now, then also the story about the husband who came and killed women and children. Who is that husband? Is he going to come into play? Is the husband Brian? Now, she ends up talking about, protecting your kids from the world, but the world always gets in. And then she ends up holding up this puppet, and they play this like suspenseful music, and the puppet has this red string. Now, not the enchantress, the lady cow, as she's talking with the puppet, she's talking to Apollo like something appears to be something. It's not a monster. It's a monster, but it makes itself look like a beautiful maiden. And then she's like, do you understand what I'm talking about? And Apollo is like, it's not a baby. And she's like, that's a smart boy. But that didn't make any sense to me. Why did this suddenly turn on the light bulb to make Apollo say it's not a baby? So does he now not believe that baby Brian was a baby? Does he now believe Emma when she said the baby was the devil? Like, why did he just suddenly jump to it's not a baby? But then he ends up saying if it's an illusion, then someone created it. But of course we get distracted from this line of focus because we hear William screaming. But I'm saying like, wait, if it's an illusion, someone created it. So who created it, y'all? Who or what created it? But then we end up hearing William scream. And Cal is like, you didn't come along. Y'all, this ain't made no damn sense. Why the hell was Apollo not sitting here thinking, what the hell happened to William? Didn't I come here with somebody? I ain't never in my life go somewhere with somebody, they disappear, and then I just fall la la la. Why would you not be thinking, hey, where's William? Where's the person that I came here with? But William is outside screaming, hello, are you in there? Like a psychopath. And we end up see them pushing Apollo and William through a field, and we're going to like another building, and Kyle is asking the women like, what was William doing when you found, what was he doing when you found him? And he was waving his phone light from side to side over his head on the shore. But he told, and he be saying, I can't tell a lie, but he told Apollo his phone was dead. You don't have a phone light if your phone is dead. But what exactly was he doing? Because now, hold on now. Now, remember when we discovered that William works in IT, we also discovered he was in the military. Military folks know like Morse code and stuff like that. So is that what William was doing with the phone light? Who was he signaling? Later on, he says he called the cavalry. We don't know who that is, what that is. But Cal ends up looking at William's phone and being like, oh my God, it's Greta's husband. And she knocks him over the head. Y'all, when I tell you, I was like, first of all, the knock over the head, I thought he was dead. You knock me over my head like that, I'm at least going to be in a coma. So they end up taking him inside this building where these cells are. And when I tell y'all, Cal beat the brakes off William. She beat the white off William. She beat this man down. I thought she beat him to death. And she ends up looking to Apollo and saying, you better decide if you're ready to eat a large slice of humble pie. And then William get his ass up to my, at least I got my glasses. And I'm like, what? Something is wrong with this man. It's obvious to everybody but Apollo. Why was there focus and emphasis on his glasses? Is it a tracking device? Is it a camera in the glasses? Y'all, I don't know what's happening, but I'm just suspicious of everything. And Apollo, they leave him in this, they lock him in a cell. They're in separate cells. And Apollo was like, how are you not dead? And then Apollo was like, you haven't told me everything, obviously. Y'all, William says that he has been driving up and down the river and never was able to find the island. So, remember I was saying earlier about it must be some importance with Apollo taking his ring off and putting that string on. William could never find this island. Apollo finds it his first try. Is it because he had the string on his finger? He tied it around his finger. And remember, you tie it on and you make wishes and you just can't cut it off. So was his wish to find Emma and that's why he found the island? I don't have a clue, but that's my little speculation. But y'all, when William says how he was driving up and down looking for the island, why Apollo dumbass talking about, wait, so you didn't just learn how to drive a boat? Polar Apollo. Now, William ends up saying his family is Norwegian, so he pretty much has been on boats since he was a baby. Now, this Norwegian thing keep popping up. Emma was with some Norwegian photographer. This guy is Norwegian. And remember, the people that come across on that boat to immigrate over to America at the very top, they were Norwegian. Presumably, that will eventually mean something. Now, we end up finding out, and this goes into what I was saying about William has been weaving this together from the beginning. William read about baby Brian being born on a train and stalked Apollo on social media and saw his pictures and stuff of him and Brian going to the park. And it kind of made me feel like, did he have whatever the changeling weird thing with these babies target baby Brian? And he's going on about how he knew they would be friends. And we find out that the same kind of thing happened with William's daughters. William had 2 daughters and his wife killed one. Which is why I was thinking, okay, maybe Lillian also had 2 kids and one child was a changeling and one child was Apollo. Was it a baby or baby changeling in that red suitcase that she throws into the ocean? Now, William goes on about how he wants Apollo to talk to Greta. He wants Apollo to convince Greta to go home with him, their daughter and Greta to go home with William. And y'all, I don't know what this pie is, but he's like, just eat your pie, man. Just eat your humble pie and get me my wife. Now, they done been talking about eating people, eating babies. So I don't know what this pie is, but I'm sure it is not just, metaphorical humble pie. And I'm sure it ain't just a regular old pie. I just feel like it's going to be something really crazy because look at the show. Now, William ends up telling Apollo, if you don't help me, everyone on the island is going to die. We then see what looks like Lillian red suitcase, like I said, at the bottom of the ocean. And the camera pans up and we see Lillian standing on the dock. Now, at the top of the whole season, the narrator was telling us about a monster in the sea when the Norwegian people came over. So is that, we're feeding that monster in the ocean? Is that why the suitcase is in the ocean? And it seems like people can have multiple kids and one can be real and one can be a changeling. So I'm wondering if that's one of Lillian's secrets. Now, Lillian touched her pregnant stomach, remember, and said, I won't let anything happen to you when she was pregnant with Apollo. And Lillian was the one who wanted to get baby Brian baptized, and her reasoning was to protect him from dark creatures in the world. So that's going to mean something. I also want to know, who was the husband that found these women and killed the women and children? Was it Brian, or was it another husband that will learn about later on. I'm speculating that William was the text from unknown sending those pictures. William was the stalker. William has had his eye on them since baby Brian was born. And I wonder if he the one got the baby for the fairies to eat. Like, did he put them in this situation? I'm also wondering, why Apollo? Why did he have his sights set on Apollo? Why did he use Apollo to get to this island? Why is he so gung-ho for Apollo to talk to Greta? She don't know Apollo. Why would she ever listen to him? And why did it have to be Apollo? The other lady that was in group talking about her situation, why he didn't go after her husband? Why was his sight set on Apollo? Is there something special with Apollo? I feel like William is talking about how he saw them and wanted to see a happy family, but was he jealous of baby Brian and Apollo and their whole family? Because he makes reference to how he wasn't a good dad and Apollo was taking his baby to the park and doing all that stuff that William should have done. But y'all, I gotta also say, why the heck did Patrice just disappear? Why was he not on the boat? And you know what I was thinking, but I could be spiraling because this show is just obviously mystery. But there is this classic horror trope that I have seen quite a bit where like the main protagonist has a person that's close to them, that's a friend or relative that they talk to throughout the whole movie. And then at the end, it's revealed that that person is actually dead or imaginary. And it's always the way you spot it is because nobody but the main protagonist ever interacts with that person, right? And that's like the clear shot or sign that, oh, that person is dead. I was feeling like, is Patrice real? Because I don't know, something was just, but obviously other characters have interacted and talked to Patrice, not just Apollo. But I just was like, I'm spiraling. But I just thought it was so weird that he would not have been on the boat. Like, you would just let your friend. So that's why I started spiraling. Like, wait, but again, I'm going to say maybe that's men. Because I feel like women ain't going nowhere by themselves with no damn stranger. Now, if you don't help me, everyone on the island is going to die. Why? How? Who did William call? Why is Apollo not concerned with finding his dad? He just learned that his mom refused to allow Brian to see Apollo. Wouldn't that be the catalyst for me to track my dad down? Like, it was my mom that kept us apart all this time. You didn't abandon me. And I gotta say, I hate the fact that William having ulterior motives and an agenda was so obvious. I would have liked to be surprised along with Apollo. I don't know why we set it up for him to look so suspicious from jump. Yeah, I don't like that. I would have liked for it to be some kind of mystery to that. Like, why introduce the character? And we didn't like know, but we knew something was up. Like, we knew something went right with this man. I would have rather not known something went right with him. I would have rather kind of trusted him and we end up together looking for Emma in a way that wasn't so suspicious so that I could have been like, oh, shoot. I guess I just wanted an oh, shoot moment. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for supporting the channel. Let me know in the comments, how are you feeling about the Changeling so far? We are halfway through. There are only 8 episodes, so let me know some of your predictions, some of your thoughts. Do you have any idea what Emma's third wish was? And you know what? I'm kind of feeling like this episode was really giving me themes of like men who lose their mind and like kill their wife and kids. Men who go crazy and commit violence against women. Women having to band together to make their own communities to protect themselves from men. A lot of themes in there along those lines. And I'm wondering if Emma's wish is going to kind of be centered on those things that women are socialized to want, like marriage, like a baby. Is it going to have something to do with like being young forever, youthful forever, looks? I don't know. But I just felt like this episode was really kind of putting in my face these themes of stuff that pertain to like women and the whole like William gives me domestic violence. Like William gives me, you know how they have like the Underground Railroad type of thing for women that are abused so you can get away from an abuse. That's what William was giving me. I'm tracking my abused wife down and I'm going to kill anybody who get him out. Like that's what he was giving me. So I'm just speculating. And then we see Lillian, young Lillian, beat up. Who the hell beat her up? So that's why I'm feeling like it's really giving me themes of like male rage against women. Am I spiraling? Was y'all getting themes like that as well? I'll see you in the next one.